Hey, everybody. Hey, all you people. Hey, all you people. Welcome to Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Yes, I am here. Thought, since there wasn't a ton of news to go over, I mean, other than the typical, so-and-so destroyed so-and-so and everything's horrible. I thought, what the heck? Why not flip through an old Filmfax magazine? I talk about these once in a while. This one, number 37, February, March 1993. So I was in college when this sucker came out. This is something I bought, I think, more recently. But yeah, we're in October, the spooky season. So what the heck? Why not take a look at some cool old magazines? And it really is kind of like a time capsule of, I'll say the pre-internet period. It was mostly pre-internet. We were rocking AOL and stuff like that. But anywho, so what do we got on the cover? We got, of course, the creature from the Black Lagoon. A visit with B-movie starlet Julie Adams, the girl in the great white one piece. Heinz Horrors, Confessions of a Teen Heartthrob, Quatermass. I always say quarter. Quatermass Experience. Jack Arnold, Life Beyond the Camera with Betty Arnold. Plus, the Creature remake that never got made. AIP producer Herman Cohen on the how-to of making a monster movie. With pretty much all of these, it was like, a lot of it was sci-fi horror from back in the day, but not all of it. They kind of broadly covered, what was going on in sort of pop culture. But yeah, I kind of went to the weird stuff. Oh, I should bring up, since we were just looking at Creature cover. Super 7 Creature from the Black Lagoon arrived. They're doing like a little bit of a sale at the moment on some of this stuff. I'll show something else off later. But yeah, came actually pretty close. Pretty quick. I figured, what the heck? I don't have one of these. It's my favorite monster. Hey, I see Man of War in the chat. Just completed replay of your Gamma World vid. Oh, cool, man. Couldn't watch yesterday. Was framing up an elevated deck. Nice. Utterly useless. Oh, God. Yeah, I can imagine. I haven't done like a huge project like that in a while. But I'll tell you what. Maybe. Oh, Tater. So like Quatermass? It could be. You know what? Look, let's just put an R in it and call it Quatermass. I don't know. Somehow that just, it's easier for me. Come on, Britain. Give me some help. Old, I'm tired. I don't have time for your crazy pronunciations of the American language. Yeah, that's right. Come on, man. We beat them in a war. It's not English anymore. It's American. Anyhow. So I figured I'd just kind of flip through this while we chat about other things. About the only little news thing that came up that I thought was interesting this week was the Amazon trying to airbrush the guns out of James Bond images, which apparently blew up in their face. So I was all prepped, like, okay, I'll talk about how they did this and it's really stupid, and why would you even do this at this point in time? And I want to say within about like 8 hours, they had quietly put the guns back in James Bond's hand. Which is actually a good sign, because up till now, they typically would double down on something that stupid. Yeah, Man of War, you saw some of that, right? Part of the problem, too, is that the images just didn't look good. It just looked bad, for one thing. It was a terrible way to try to promote Bond. And I think it was on, like, James Bond Day. I don't know if it's, like, the anniversary of one of the movies or books or what have you, but it was probably, yeah, Amazon is so dumb it hurt. It is. It is, Lady Gwendolyn. Amazon, Disney, really a lot of the pop cultural corporate world is just dumb. They're just dumb. And I think it has to do with what they remind me of is like the kids who inherit a fortune from their parents or like from grandpa and then kind of blaze through it and waste it because they didn't have to earn any of it whatsoever. And a lot of times, like, you have the innovator, right? Well, let's say like Walt Disney innovates with his brother handling the financial aspect of it. And so they know what it took. Like, they know what was involved in building the Disney brand, for lack of a better word. I mean, making the films and doing the creative work and taking the risks and building Disneyland and stuff, right? They went through it. And a lot of times then the kids, having seen that and having a certain amount of love for their parents who did it, they respect that as well. Maybe they're not as creative. Maybe they can't take over creatively from that kind of thing, but they respect what was done and try to keep that legacy alive and kicking. Oh, like Tolkien's son is a really good example of that too, right? And then you get one or two more generations removed, and you just have spoiled brats who earned nothing, who don't respect the thing that provided the money that allowed them to be spoiled brats, and they crap all over it or sell it off to a soulless sort of corporation. And the corporation, also non-creative, doesn't respect it. It's all just money to them. And they mess it up. Now, sometimes the company will hire somebody who cares and has some respect for the thing and make something great out of it, or at least try to make something great out of it. But I think we're at the point now where it's like, no, now it's just the spoiled brats who actually resent how creative and how good the founders of this thing were. And it's like, well, we're going to smash it and remake it in our own image. And it's a piece of crap. I think you kind of see that right now with with Harry Potter, you got the streaming TV show that they're working on. I say streaming, it looks like steaming might be a better adjective for it. And you also have an audio kind of, I mean, I guess it's like audio book, but it's like an audio production. And the audio production seems like Rowling is a lot more involved with it. And it also seems like it's going to be maybe a lot better than the TV show, because it's the one Rowling's involved with. The other one seems more like, screw her, do whatever we want. Anyhow, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So there you go with James Bond as well. Dude, check this out. Robots, rockets, ray guns, aliens from another world. Science fiction for the ear from the golden age of sci-fi radio created in future tense. So you can get, this is like an ad. This is the kind of stuff you got in Filmfax that now, yes, you can go out and find for free, probably on YouTube. But it was a big deal. But this is like a bunch of old radio shows based upon classic sci-fi. So they're almost selling it like audio books, I think, on here. You got the order form, because of course you have to cut it out. Maybe you could photocopy it, but name of program, order number, quantity of audio tapes ordered at $6.95 each, quantity of package sets ordered at $60 each. So think about it. That's $60 back in '93. So one of those package sets, let's see, a complete package set of 12 shows. All right. So for 12 shows, that probably cost you, that's probably about like I don't know, man, 80, 90, $100 in today's dollars. That's expensive, man. I mean, $7 for the one tape is kind of expensive, but it was the only way to get this stuff. I'm pretty sure 93 is before the MP3 exists. And the MP3, like if you were there for the old internet, you started out with the WAV files. And at our internet connections, like you'd find a WAV file of the Jaws theme, right, from the movie. And it would take you maybe 2, 3, 4 hours to download that WAV file. But dude, check it out, man. I have like the Jaws theme on my friggin' computer. This is rad. Dude, in fact, I remember a guy I worked with, same job I'm in now, but technically a different company and stuff. But of course, your best internet connection was always like at work because you'd have like whatever it was, the T whatever line. So we downloaded a few things, but I remember the Jaws theme was one of them. We found a site that people converted into a WAV file. And so for some weird reason, our boss at work had bought us each, he was the graphics dude, I was research guy. He bought us each a really good sound system for our computers, including this huge friggin' subwoofer. We had no need for this in our jobs. No need for this at all. We have this subwoofer. So it was probably like, I don't know, around 4:30. So, we quit at 5. Around 4:30 or something. We'd gotten this Jaws theme downloaded. And we're like, dude, let's try something out. So we I think it was on my computer. We turned the subwoofer like all the way up and we set it on like face down on the floor. Now we were in an office tower. Man, I don't know, like 10th floor, something like that, 8th, 9th, 10th floor. We're up there. But the point is, because it's like multi-floor, it's going to resonate through the floor. It's not like we were facing that woofer into a concrete slab. Okay. And so we turned that thing up and we play the WAV file. And Jaws, right? Whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. And so help me God, we had people from the other side of the office walking around going, do you guys hear that? Do you guys? It sounds like Jaws. Like, we're like, yeah, that was awesome. With our stupid sound system, what we didn't need. I think that's the only real use we ever got out of the thing. There was good times. But then MP4s came along, and that's when the recording industry got just dry humped by the world, because all of a sudden something that would be like 120 megs was like, a couple megs, and the download speeds were getting faster. So it could still take a while to download stuff, but not nearly as long. And then we were all going freaking nuts on downloading music. I mean, I admit it, I did it too. I don't know. It's like, well, I guess technically it's not right, but I don't know. We're just having fun. Anyhow, yeah, those were good times. So anyways, Bond, Amazon speaking of getting dry humped, Amazon got pretty quickly dry humped on the Bond issue. And they went back, but I swear to God, it never stops. Like, it never stops. They haven't figured this out yet. Like, that this kind of crap is just not popular, and they need to just cut it out entirely. But I don't know if you can see this thing down here. This is it says Jack Pierce created this photo montage of movie makeups for his work portfolio. Kind of zoom in a little bit that way. Man, I wonder what year that was that he did that. So this is the message board circa 1993, also known as the letters page. with people writing stuff in. Opinions, ideas, corrections, and complaints. Or maybe no, you know what? I'm wrong on that. Maybe some of this is letters, and some of it is the editors coming up with stuff. AMC, anybody remember AMC when it was actually did movies to air first annual film preservation festival? I don't know. They maybe still do movies, but AMC used to do, what was it? Was it like American Movie Channel or something? They used to be a lot like TCM. And then I think TCM sort of took over, and that was kind of it for them. What do we got? Marlena Dietrich surrounded by Royal Cossack Guards and the Scarlet Empress. That's His Girl Friday down there. Russell, Cary Grant. Over here, Lou Ayres and Louis Walheim in All Quiet on the Western Front. Lou Ayres is an interesting dude. He was, I think I talked about this in something, but in one of my videos, I don't remember why. He was a pacifist, and I want to say it was World War II comes along, and but he enlisted into the military, but made the deal with them of he wanted to be a medic. And so he, because he didn't want to kill anybody, and they went for it because, they needed medics too. But I thought he's an interesting guy. Like, he wanted to serve his country, but he didn't want to kill anybody. So instead of making some kind of big grandstand play or anything like that, he just quietly joined the army and became a medic and did what he could against the Axis. I don't know. I think it showed a lot of character. He's interesting. Oh, you know what? I know what it was. He was in an episode of Fantastic Journey, the TV show about the Bermuda Triangle, like this, weird extra dimensional island in the middle of it with all sorts of weird stuff. So check it out. Foothill Video, foreign features on video. So these are foreign movies that you could get on videotape. So if you didn't have a good video store where you lived, and I worked at a good video store that would actually order a lot of this stuff, and this is how you found weird stuff. I don't mean weird as in bad, but just stuff that was not, for lack of a better word, in the mainstream. Like I don't know, Miyamoto Musashi, Samurai, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3 from Toshiro Mifune from the 50s. And so $15 VHS or beta, buy any three, get the fourth one free. And this is kind of the whole community of people who were into that kind of, non-mainstream stuff. Like this is what you did. You got fanzines, you got magazines like this, and it would be taken over with stuff on AOL, like message boards eventually, or Facebook. But this was kind of where you went. This was your community, so to speak. Man of War says, mentioned in past, just got my box set for The Keep from Imprint. I'm calling it the Gluttonous Edition. Nice. I've never watched The Keep. I know I need to. I would bring up my true confessions here, except I'm not on camera, so it doesn't really work. But yeah, God, there's so many things like that you almost forget that you need to do this, because you sit down, you open up like Tubi or something, and here's 400 other things in front of you, and then a year passes, and you're like, oh yeah, shit, I was going to watch that. So let's see. It includes 4K, Blu-ray, doc soundtrack, graphic novel of book, lobby cards, press kit with black and white prints, photo book, full-size lobby poster, solid box, and a heavy replica silver cross from the film. Dude, that's pretty rad. What did that cost? What is that going for? That's a really great set. I love that stuff's still out there. I love cheap physical media where it's just like, screw it, I just want the movie. I don't even care, you know. But I love that there's still some prestige stuff like that coming out, especially for the keep, because, I mean, I'm sure if you went out and talked to, you know, 1,000 people on the street, I'd say the vast majority of them probably have never heard of it. But it's cool that the people who do love it can get a hold of that kind of stuff, you know, that it's available out there for them. That sounds rad, man. Whoa, Dracula, the vampire legend on film. Oh, it's a paperback book. See, check it out. Like, okay, again, you go nowadays, if you're an author and you're writing books, you know, what do? You go to like Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, and trying to promote it. These dudes, Phantasma Books, 419 Amelia Street, Key West, Florida, they took ad space in Filmfax because they knew that was the folks most likely to buy this. 8.5 by 11 paperback book covers 70 years of Dracula and vampire films, crammed with hundreds of blood-curdling stills and reviews on all your favorite films. And I mean, it's like, it's cool. They got a book. It's $12.95, which again would probably be about like $35 nowadays. Which, if you were doing, you know, crowdfunding or things like that, that's probably about the price you'd come down on in this day and age. There's a little bit more effort to put something in print back then, but now, you know, nowadays, blogs kind of took that over, you know. Yeah, I don't think, you know, people don't go to blogs so much anymore, but I don't think they've really been surpassed by social media, maybe a little bit by YouTube. Manowar says it was $165 with shipping. Think sold out up to release date. Scalpers on eBay already $250 to $300. I can imagine, but like, you know, some stuff goes on eBay for a lot of money and you're like, okay, you're just kind of ripping us off. But dude, that's a lot of stuff. I mean, a graphic novel of the book. I mean, so think about it, right? 4K Blu-ray of a movie. You go out nowadays, you're at least probably in the $20 to $30 range, regardless, right? Say $30. Graphic novel, you're in the, again, $30 range. There's $60 right there. You're getting, you know, the box. You got the Silver Cross, right? That's pretty cool. That ain't going to be cheap. I mean, 165 is a good price, but you know, if the supply's not there anymore, I mean, and there's demand, $250. I mean, I kind of get it. Like, that's a lot of stuff. That's a good collection. I mean, it's like, you know, if you just casually like to keep, you're probably not doing that. You probably weren't going to do the 165 if you're just kind of casually a fan. But if you're really into it, that's probably not the worst price in the world. I mean, oh yeah, I think you mentioned that before. Yeah, the Tangerine Dream soundtrack. That rings a bell. A long second. Yeah, there you go. That is cool, man. That's cool. I love that stuff. I love, like, that there's just, you know, like, if something out there just has that massive, I shouldn't say massive, that cult fan base, though, but where it's like, we're going to release this, but we're going to do the ultimate friggin' release for this thing. This will be the greatest release ever that you could possibly have. And I love when they put that stuff together. And it's cool when, you know, it's cool when a big corporation manages to do that kind of stuff. You know, they hire the right people and they actually get to make some really cool things. And it doesn't usually last, but it's nice when you get that. It's cool that there's people out there nowadays doing this kind of stuff on their own here and there. Dude, Sinister Cinema from Medford, Oregon. Dude, check this out, man. Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Boris Karloff, Black Sabbath. Fabiola, I don't even know what that is. Goddess of Love in a City of Sin. That's rad. Monsters Crash the Pajama Party. I think I might have seen that. No, that's not a derail, dude. That's exactly that's what I want for these streams, honestly, is just talking about cool shit. Gun girls, gang girls on the loose, primetime lightning bolt. This is where you got your cult weird friggin' cinema. And these are all, of course, videotapes, because again, we're pre-DVD. All titles are $16.95 unless otherwise noted. Please add $2.05 per title for packaging, handling, and postage. Please specify item number when ordering. So shipping and handling, $205. Think about $205. But again, it's $93. So let's do the quick. That's probably not that far off, to be completely honest, from shipping nowadays. Do I got the CPI calculator? Oh, there it is. You can tell what a huge geek I am, and also that I work in sort of, economics research, that I have, like, the CPI calculator on speed dial on my phone. No, dude, I take it back. That's less than $5 shipping. That's less than $5 shipping. I mean, you can get free shipping on Amazon for stuff, but that's not a bad. But think about how much more demand there is now for delivery than there used to be. Look at these sections though: science fiction, horror. Okay, cool. Sword and sandal, fantasy, the day the earth froze, and the magic fountain. Oh god. Silent thrills, exploitation, juvenile schlock, the flaming teenage. Oh my god. Some of these I gotta look up and see if I can find them. Edgar Wallace and Company, Forger of London, Inn on the River, Strangler of Blackmore Castle, The Indian Scarf, The Mad Executioners, The Mysterious Magician. I don't know if I really know Edgar Wallace. I need to learn about that. Mystery, suspense, film noir, spies, espionage, and intrigue. It's mostly stuff from like the 60s, the 50s, down back to the 20s. This stuff. Video scan. Reviews of the rare and unusual in video release. Okay, there's Quatermass. See, I'm getting it right. Quatermass. The Quatermass Experiment, U.S. title, The Creeping Unknown. Black and white, 78 minutes. And Quatermass 2. Very nice. And it tells you like the prices and stuff. You get some great black and white photos in these things. There's Quatermass in the pit, so it looks like they're kind of doing a bunch of Quatermass stuff. Ooh, Silent Shockers, the big B-movie catalog. $35 each. Stokey's cereals. Oh, yeah. The cereals were more expensive because it was like a double tape. And if you know your videotape, you could fit different amounts of footage on the same tape depending upon how you did it. Basically, the equivalent nowadays of your, I don't know, you can call it like your resolution, right? If you're on YouTube, you could look at stuff at like 240 or 480 or 720 or 1080 is high def, right? So you could, so if you're doing like 3 hours on a videotape rather than an hour, the quality ain't friggin' great. And a lot of times they were using thin tape too. So some of that stuff you'd get it, dude, it'd break on you after about 5 viewings probably. Here's some old TV stuff. My Living Doll. That's Julie Newmar with Bob Cummings. She said, man, poor Bob Cummings. He was like ridiculously addicted to like, I don't know, pain pills and stuff like that. And he had a lot of problems. Dude, Medic. Okay. You can find Medic on Tubi. Richard Boone, so the dude who played Paladin in Have Gun Will Travel. Really good, really kind of interesting medical show. It was almost like Dragnet, but medicine. They would talk about like a real case, but they got an episode that is showing what would happen if there was an A-bomb strike on an American city. And this doctor, and he's not in sometimes he just narrates and opens the show. And other actors play the doctors, but he plays the doctor in this one. And it kind of reminds you of like an episode of MASH. Yeah, SLP. Oh, yeah. The picture quality of mud. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Super long play. Yeah. But if you could find the medic episode, in fact, it even says 2 shows. Flash of Darkness examines what might happen if an atom bomb were to be dropped on an American city. This graphic episode was extremely controversial when it was first aired. Now, but what it gets to is sort of like, this is why you need to support, your civic, air raid people, etc. And you need to have bomb shelters because it's going to be bad. It is an amazing friggin' episode. And I think I'm going to do like a review with, a slideshow on a video one of these days, because it's really good. It was not expected. But I got to be honest with you, like there's an episode where they find this little baby in like a lot, like a vacant lot. And somebody had stuffed like quicklime in the baby's mouth to try to kill it, basically. And they rescue this little girl and have to do they give her like a tracheotomy so she could breathe, because her throat is basically, it's just all scar tissue. It's like sealed pretty much. And they more or less have to raise this kid at the hospital. It's like, dude, it's a hardcore show. It didn't mess around. It really tried to give you a picture of what hospitals dealt with, kind of like how Dragnet tried to do that with police stuff. Like there's one where this woman gets hit by a drunk driver, and he's not entirely he's kind of like annoyed that he's having to go through all this. He doesn't really care that she got hurt. Yeah, anyways, Medic it's a pretty amazing show, actually. But I have to admit, I did not make it through the whole series because it was kind of a bummer. I was watching it and I was enjoying it because it was pretty well done. The acting was mostly pretty good in it. It wasn't always great, but the stories were good. But there was a certain point. It's like watching those commercials for abused pets where you're like going, dude, I want to go out and beat the crap out of every person who does this to dogs, and I want to help, but I can't watch this commercial anymore. It's too rough. It's too friggin' hard to see this. And Medic was kind of like that. I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I could take this. I don't think I can deal with this today. I've had a hard day at work. Anyhow. Oh, there's a model. The Tower of London. Wow. The Ideal Beginner's Kit. It's amazing. The release of Ultima Futura Automaton, The False Maria. Oh, a new limited edition print by artist David Fisher. It's amazing where you go here to buy prints. Forgotten Horrors, now on video. Horrors, not horrors. Attack of the Killer B-movie t-shirts. Dude, there's the brain from Planet Arouse. Nice. Filmfax, glow in the dark, sold out. There's one with a mushroom cloud. E = MC squared. Wow. There's a t-shirt place, or there was in Vegas, called Cash for Chaos. If you're ever in Vegas, Maryland Parkway and Flamingo. I don't know if it's still there or not. It's got a lot of punk metal t-shirts. I say to my wife, and we went a few times. I took my daughter a few times. We'd grab some things because they'd have Elvira t-shirts. They'd have a Bride of Frankenstein. My daughter was into all that. But I said, dude, this is what Hot Topic was back in the early 90s. It was metal t-shirts, and it was pewter jewelry that was for the metal set. And you go into Hot Topic nowadays, and it's like, what the hell is this? There's Sheena. I did a Sheena review. Not a bad show. Camping at the movies. All right, let's do. Well, you know what? Actually, new acquisitions. Let me do a couple new acquisitions real quick. I showed the creature that showed up. the Svengoolie in Coffin showed up as well from Super 7. Basically, the Coffin is like the box, right? But it's all graphicked up. And you can open the front of it to see Svengoolie in there. Very cool. I'm a Svengoolie fan. I didn't have anything like this. So, it's $20. $20, not bad. Not bad. I don't know if you ever watched Svengoolie. He had Ghost and Mr. Chicken on last night. Did not pick up many comic books this week, but I did grab the Detective Comics number 40 facsimile edition. I'm digging these big Golden Age facsimiles. There's Batman with Robin the Boy Wonder. What's he doing in this one? I get it. Yeah. This is Clayface. Since they're doing that Clayface. Is it movie or TV show? Is it TV, like a streaming show? It's like I have no interest in these. I like that. I don't really have any interest in like what Warner Brothers is doing with the DCU, or frankly what Marvel's doing with like Fantastic Four and crap, but we're getting all these rad facsimile editions out of it, so keep going. It's cool with me. Oh, here it is, now on sale. Batman number 1, the first complete book chock full of brand new adventures of that thrilling character, the Batman. All new material, never before published. Now that was important because they did this with Superman, and you notice it's a spring issue, so I think this was quarterly. They did it with Superman, but it was all just reprints. But it was so popular, that's where Superman, instead of it being a one-shot, it became a, I don't know if it was monthly. It might not have been monthly either, but it became a recurring series. We'll call it that. But remember, in these days, one Batman story in Detective, and then we got Spy. I don't know much about Spy. We got Red Logan, an American reporter in London. But it tells you, like, superheroes were still... Oh, that is rad. Without warning, Ivan is set upon with disastrous results. And now, you, my little peach... No, please don't do it. Oh, wait, please don't do it. It's murder. Okay, today I'm happy, so you lucky. But I think I maybe soften you up for next feller. Too bad Rad missed this. I tell him. Oh, so Ivan must be Red's like buddy or something. Is Red a Red? Probably not. I love that friggin' image though. That was great. Oh, here's Crimson Avenger. So they did a Crimson Avenger miniseries later on. And they would change him. They'd put him in a costume at a certain point, like a cape and all that other crap. But before he was more like the Shadow wearing red. Start saving bags for Popsicle Pete's free gifts. You can get a creepy Pinocchio. You can get a knife, a fork, and a spoon. And what kid didn't want that, for crying out loud? You can get, what is it? Genuine crepe, but it looks like a friggin'... Is it supposed to be like a stocking? It's made out of crepe. You can't put anything good in it. Speed Saunders, Ace Investigator, and the Jewel Robbers by Fred Gardenier. Fred Gardenier did a whole bunch of stuff back in the day. Theft at the Fair by Gardner Fox. There we go. Gardner Fox wrote a whole bunch of Batman. Creamsicle. You don't like the creamsicles, huh? I like the fireworks ad. There's a firework ad on the back. I'll show you in a minute. What is this? Steve Malone. But you see how, like, it's mostly non-superpower stuff is what dominated. Superman is on the radio, sponsored by the makers of Force over the following stations. I don't know what the hell Force is, to be honest with you. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I like how it shows the different stations. WOR in New York from 5:15 to 5:30. Let's see, is there anything? It's not. Well, Los Angeles, KHJ in Los Angeles from 6 to 6:15. And then some of them showed it Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Interesting. I have listened to the first story of that radio show, and it's almost like an alternate take on Superman. It's not quite, at least it's not the Superman we'd all get used to later on. Cliff Crosby. Doing the pilot thing. Is that a... Oh, I see. He's knocking a dude out who has federal written on his back. I was like, what the hell is he doing? Oh, there's Slam Bradley. So Slam Bradley was kind of a big deal in Detective Comics. Notice that looks like Tintin. That French, or no, was Tintin French or Belgian? I don't know if you can kind of see it. I don't know if I was able to get it big enough there. Anyways, I don't know if Tintin is French or Belgian. I have no idea. Ouch. Oh, girl's about to faint. I always like these ones where you have the kind of normal looking hero and the very cartoony looking sidekick, which those didn't always translate well over time. The big 6 comic magazines still lead the field. Action Comics with Superman, Adventure Comics, The Sandman, Detective, The Batman, All American Comics, Ultraman, not the Japanese dude, Fun Comics, The Spectre, Flash with The Flash. That's it. It's on sale 23rd of every month, 7th, 5th. So you'd see, first you'd get Fun would come out on the 1st, then Batman on the 5th, Adventure Comics on the 7th, Flash Comics on the 15th, All American on the 20th, Action on the 23rd. There is our Red Rider. Oh, Internet says Belgian. Yeah, I as soon as I said French, I'm like, shit, I think he's Belgian. There's our Red Rider Cowboy Carbine. But you notice you get his brand on the stock, but there was no compass in the stock, apparently. That was made up for Christmas Story. But here you go. Fireworks. Real fun for a patriotic 4th of July. And we're all going, wait, so kids could order all this crap. I mean, actual little firecrackers, bottle rockets, just through the mail. No biggie. No biggie. Roman candles, 10 for 50 cents. 100 extra loud salutes free. The Spencer Fireworks Company, 17 Main Street, Polk, Ohio. We can only imagine how many fingers that fireworks company was responsible for removing from children and adults back in the day. So anywho, I grabbed that. I grabbed a couple back issues, nothing major. I got this Spider-Woman. This is the last issue of Spider-Woman, but it had the photo cover. So I grabbed that. I grabbed the second issue of the New Warriors. I've been trying to kind of build a little collection of that. And I got issue 28 of Justice League Europe, which I was missing. Although I was just looking at my box, and I'm like, I don't see issue 22. And I thought I had issue 22, so now I'm not sure. I'm going to have to figure that out. Yeah, I didn't grab a bunch this week. Let's look at some coming attractions. We can still flip through the mag a little bit. And glad Man of War's on here, because here's another opportunity to spend money on Conan action figures. So this is the Boss Fight Studio. I've shown these off before. Epic Hacks 1/12 scale Conan and Belit are now available for pre-order at Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store. $65 a pop. And it's like, whoa, 65. But I will say this, like, here's the Conan. And here's what you get. So, I mean, you get a lot of stuff with them. And it's a pretty cool looking sculpt. I think the Belit is even kind of cooler, to be honest with you. And here's all the stuff you get with her. Head change out. The sickles, the sword, etc. And I was thinking, she's a really interesting character. Conan wise, the fact that she is so aggressive, that she's a warrior, and she's so close to being evil. She probably is in a way, but she is loyal to Conan. She does seem to love him. So it kind of redeems her a little bit as a character, where she's not just a villain, but I don't know, man. I don't think you get many characters like that. And I think it makes sense too, the way she didn't last. I mean, she couldn't last. I think she would take too much spotlight off of Conan. Yeah, not $85 or Mezco prices. Yeah, exactly. But then again, it might also not be maybe as as good. I have no idea. I mean, they look pretty cool though. I'll say that. But yeah, Belita's a cool character. Very kind of different in Sword and Sorcery. Really, you really wouldn't get anything like her until Red Sonja. And obviously she was a Howard character, but different. They kind of changed her for the comic books when you get down to it. I saw McFarlane has some pre-orders coming up with Walmart on October 10th. So what are we, 5 days away? But they're also going to be available from McFarlane's online store. And I'm wondering if that isn't because Walmart flubbed a few things with McFarlane and people couldn't get them, which happened to me on a couple things. But anyhow, we got Red Tornado. I'm not sure what the prices will be on these, and I got to admit, I would kind of dig that Red Tornado. I think it's cool. I like the oddball characters. You got Batgirl in the sort of, dark blue with the yellow. Very cool. And you got Blackfire. That's Starfire's evil sister, which is kind of cool. But I'm kind of going, what, did they do a Starfire? Because I would go for Starfire. Manowar says, the icons were solid to my surprise, build and paint. That's cool. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, they should be for $65 for, plastic. They should be, but we know they're not always. They're not always. If you have a predilection for 8-inch or 12-inch horror figures, this popped up on Twitter. So, Time Bomb Toys is selling these. But they sort of, is that the Batgirl with the way too long legs? I don't know. I don't know. What is that? Is that from one of their comics that they drew recently? Could be. You probably would have to pay extra for the leg change outs to make them too long, would be my guess. So Time Bomb Toys says we just got these in from Trick or Treat Studios. Okay, so trickortreatstudios.com. It's one word, trickortreatstudios.com. Has a bunch of really cool horror stuff. They got masks, they got figures, they got all sorts of cool stuff. And these come from them. 8-inch Shock Monster and 8-inch Beast of Blood and 12-inch Art the Clown. But you can now pre-order them at timebombtoys.com, who I guess got a shipment. So, kind of confusing. But if you go to trickortreatstudios.com, you can see a lot of cool stuff. And if you go to timebombtoys.com, you can see a lot of cool stuff. And you might want to go check them out. $40 for the 8-inch figures, $80 for art. But in any event, both sites have a lot of cool stuff for Halloween. You might want to check that. No, the recent toys either have really long legs or he made the torso too short. Yeah. Some of them are, huh? That's you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. Then again, I mean, it's not like McFarlane is necessarily all that good at drawing anatomy. I love Todd McFarlane when it first came around, man. That early stuff just seemed rad. And then, God, over time, though, I was like, it's not really that good. Ramita was a way better artist. And I kind of got into that older stuff. But for a while, man, I was hooked on McFarlane. That was the single greatest stuff that ever existed for me. You're young. Hey, speaking of awesome art, though, the full Treasury editions of Superman versus Spider-Man and Superman and Spider-Man. So the Superman versus Spider-Man was the one that was produced by DC, with the Ross Andrew art, with some cleanups, though, by like Kurt Swan and I think Romita as well. And then the Superman and Spider-Man was the Marvel production that was done by Buscema. Those are coming March of 2026 for the first, the second in April of 2026, full-size Treasury facsimiles. So if you don't have them, the stories are fine, but the art, dude, especially in that first one, the art is freaking amazing. It's some of the coolest comic book art you will ever friggin' see, in my opinion. It opens with like this, and I did a review like my first year showing a bunch of these Marvel DC crossovers. And I did this one, I did the other Superman Spidey, I did the Batman versus Hulk, which is Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, so also freaking gorgeous. And the Teen Titans X-Men crossover, which is friggin' amazing. Walt Simonson. Oh, so good. But this one, though, just really great art. Opens with like this robot that Lex Luthor is controlling. I mean, a giant robot smashing through buildings and stuff. Super cool. So I have the originals, but I'll probably pick up the facsimiles because it's going to be really clean, and I'd like to have a more recent copy. And I'm hoping because they're releasing these next year that the Batman Hulk one will be released too, because I'd love a really nice, clean copy of that one. That stuff is so good. There's a Superman Spider-Man. I thought I didn't include the picture, but there you go. That's the one that Buscema did, which I gotta be honest, I don't like as much, although I think the story was, generally better. But you do get Supes versus Doctor Doom. I think the only negative here was that the villains, it was Lex Luthor and Dr. Octopus. I was like, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. This one, you get the Parasite, who is like never a favorite character of mine, but you do get Dr. Doom. And I'm going, yeah, if you're going Superman, give him Dr. Doom. I guess maybe you didn't want to do Dr. Doom and Lex Luthor because they're maybe too similar in terms of villainy. But anyways, yeah, those are cool. I can't wait for that. And I also saw Alterna Comics has their anthologies. It came out on a Wednesday. Number 22 and number 23 are available for pre-order on October 8th. So a few days from now. If you've never gotten these are done on newsprint. They're usually pretty cool, man. You get some interesting stories out of them. But like I said, it's an anthology. So that one featuring stories, God, I can't even come close to reading that because the image I'm looking at is really small on my screen. You could probably actually read that cover better than I could, all of you out there in television land. But so issue 22, issue 23, looks like some good stuff. So those are pre-order October 8th. I'm not sure when they're gonna be fulfilling that, but I've never had a trouble with Alterna in that regard. And they produce quality books. And to me, it's one of those. I mean, well, heck, we're just looking at the detective. I mean, it's on newsprint. Nice prints. I think they need to start thinking about doing some stuff like that. Bingo. Yeah, Dr. Doom to me is much more of a threat to Superman than Dr. Octopus would be. But if we're being completely honest, nobody is a threat to Superman, which is why his superpowers have to sort of, come and go a little bit during stories. Because technically he could work at faster than the speed of light and just, some bad guy pops up, that dude would be careening towards the sun before he could even blink. If Superman wanted to go full out against him. I mean, obviously they change his powers every so often, but on the movie side, just a couple of new movie releases on Blu-ray. Kino Lorber has The War Wagon. Dude, an old favorite of mine. This would show up like on Saturdays or Sundays. John Wayne and Kirk Douglas. Basically, if you ever watch the A-Team, and they would always do the segment where they're like building some mechanical thing to deal with the bad guys, and that's where they do the montage and the over music, and they're putting in their bolting things together and welding things, and Mr. T's in there. That's kind of the War Wagon in a way. They build this like armored wagon to move. I don't know what it was, gold probably. It's not a complex plot, but damn, it was a fun Western. I love that one. I don't know if I need it on like Blu-ray or anything, but looking at that, I was going, yeah, if I could find a good cheap DVD copy, I might grab that movie just to have it. Man of War says, bring back actual pulp. Today's content rarely matches the print material quality anyhow, in my opinion. And I think you're right. And I remember when they went to the really good paper back in the day, the comics didn't necessarily look that good because of the coloring. They were still coloring the comics for newsprint. And I remember, what was it? I think Teen Titans was one of the ones that went to the really good paper early on. I want to say, I think Alpha Flight too on the Marvel side was one. And it was kind of like, oh, this is going to be rad. Oh, this doesn't look that great, to be honest with you. But I like flat color rather than the newer way they do it. And I like newsprint, man. And I don't look at it as a downgrade. That's just me. The other thing I saw from highdefdiscnews.com posted that Amazon has a pre-order for Hollywood Legends of Horror Collection on Blu-ray. Pre-order is going to be technically available October 14th. It's through the Warner Archives. It's $56. You get The Devil Doll, Dr. X, Mad Love, Mark of the Vampire, Mask of Fu Manchu, and The Return of Dr. X, which frankly are all movies you could probably order on one of these. If we looked really close, we'd probably find it on one of these ads in Filmfax for VHS. But, some old kind of B-horror movies, $56, not bad Blu-ray. Hopefully they've cleaned them up because the quality on these is not always great. And if you have not done some work on it and you throw it into Blu-ray, it could look horrific. So hopefully they've done some restoration on that stuff. But who knows? That's about all I had for coming attractions. Not a ton of stuff. I'm wondering if maybe they're saving a few things up for like the Christmas season. Could be. Monster magazines for sale. I also buy Steve Dolnick, East Meadow, New York. I wonder if Steve's still out there. If he is, I hope he's doing well. And here we actually get to some, oh my God, yeah. Some articles. Kenny Miller. So I prepped my review for I Was a Teenage Werewolf, and I made some smart ass remarks about this dude. I haven't actually videotaped it yet. Now that I'm reading this, I'll probably feel bad, and maybe I'll soften my stance. But no, I mean, I wasn't really mean to him or anything like that, but it's funny. I did just see him in this. Oh yeah, he was in Puppet People as well. Oh my God. That era of Hollywood with giant props. They used to do that on I Dream of Jeannie all the friggin' time. I remember him on there now. Let's see, Bobby Vinton and Kenny Miller in a scene from the Rock and Roll Beach Bum Bonanza Surf Party, 1964. And that's where Michael Landon beat him up. And the cool thing, one of the cool things about this magazine, though, is the fact that you get an interview with Kenny Miller. And you're like going, well, why do I care? Like, who's Kenny Miller? I mean, it's not like he was a big star or anything. Okay, granted, but it's really cool that they put some of these memories, of these actors who were, like they weren't major players. They were side characters. They did a lot of B movies, but there's a lot of history of Hollywood in this stuff. And a lot of it gets preserved in Filmfax, stuff that otherwise, I mean, would just be lost. Because let's be honest, the big magazines, so to speak, they're not talking to Kenny Miller. You know, and the guy has knowledge. I mean, he worked with people, he did things, and, you know, of a certain era in Hollywood. It's really cool that this preserves a lot of that. The how-to of making a monster movie. So here's your how to make a monster was like the, it was like the third in the trilogy of these drive-in teenage monster flicks. There was I think 4 of them, because there was Teenage Werewolf, there was Teenage Frankenstein, right? There was the vampire one, but they didn't call it I Was a Teenage Vampire, but it was a girl who is like all, you know, being basically manipulated by this evil chick at a girls' school who's becoming like a vampire. And then there was the, you know, How to Make a Monster, which used some of the same makeup, basically. But, so this is an interview by Stuart Galbraith. So, Herman Cohen, the producer from AIP, who did some of that stuff. Oh, Bela Lugosi meets a Brooklyn gorilla. Duke Mitchell and Sammy Petrillo basically did a rip-off version of Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. And this is like the only movie they got to do. Oh, and it starred Ramona the Chimp, but because they got sued, basically. Dean and Jerry were like, oh, no, no, not happening. I have watched this movie, and if I'm completely honest, I found Sammy Petrillo a lot less annoying than Jerry Lewis, because I'm not a Jerry Lewis fan. Bride of the Gorilla, Target Earth. See, again, you know, this guy has tons of knowledge about these B movies. And it's just rad that it does manage to get, you know, preserved. Well, is this the one? Blood Is My Heritage. I don't remember. That might be something different. Because there's Teenage Frankenstein. I don't think the movie was called that I'm thinking of. Oh, that's funny. He's talking about The Pit and the Pendulum. I had the cheaper version of Vincent Price. I had Michael, I think it's Goff, but he says Goth, who I thought was a much better actor. We just had lunch together recently in Burbank because he's in Batman 2. He was also in Batman and Out of Africa. He won a Tony on Broadway for Bedroom Farce in 1979. And he's both a fine actor and a fine man. That's great. And he did get used in a lot of stuff. Now, I will say, yeah, he was not quite. Hey, Raimi, what's cooking, man? He's not quite, I'd say, as good as Vincent Price, like in horror roles. But, you know, good actor, though. Solid, good actor. But Vincent Price had that certain son. The Girl, The Gill Man, and The Great White One Piece. An Interview with Julie Adams. Rad. Love those movies. Kind of my favorite. Kind of my favorite of the monster movies from Universal, just because the trilogy of those films kind of actually tells a story from one to the other, as you see the creature being just basically abused by these scientists. Like, first they go into his territory. The next movie, they've captured him, brought him to Florida. He escapes. The next movie, they go out to find him, and they end up like burning him severely and trying to turn him into an air breather. And it's like this super tragic tale of this creature. And you don't really get that like in the other movies. You know, like Wolfman followed by Wolfman Meets Frankenstein. You know, they're kind of the same movie over and over again. The Last Creature movie is strange, yeah, but it's like, dude, what an ending, though. Where he's just like, it feels so weird. Ready? Here we go. Here's spoilers, just in case anybody out there has not seen the third Creature movie. But just basically, the way that he kind of gives up and just walks into the sea, and it's like he's not going to survive there, but he's like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. That's kind of an amazing ending for 3D horror movies from the 50s. Anyhow, so there you go. Spoilers down. But to me, is the death of monster movies in America. Yeah, it kind of is, right? Like the classics. That's in the end of the classic monster movie period. Pretty much starts shifting over to giant radioactive monsters at that point, which are fun, but not, Tarantula is not going to have a whole lot of heart. It's just not, can't do that. Anyhow, dude, I just watched Francis Joins the Wax. Francis the Mule. Julie Adams is in that. It's actually pretty good. I was surprised. I actually enjoyed that movie. I wasn't expecting much. Jack Arnold, the man behind the legend, a conversation with Betty Arnold. So, with his wife? No, Jack's, let's see. Weren't his parents Russian immigrants? Oh, yeah, yes. I think that was his wife. Because he had passed away in 1992 after many years of illness. Jack's wife and lifelong companion. Touching insight into the character of the man who gave the science fiction film a human soul. Very cool. Shrinking Man. So I'm telling you right now, if you are into B movies, if you're into horror, if you're into sci-fi, and you can find some issues of Filmfax magazine out there that aren't like super expensive or anything like that, you might want to grab them. There is some really, really, really good stuff in these issues. And I don't know if some of this information has been preserved and is somewhere else. Like maybe somebody's gone through and grabbed factoids and put them on the internet. But you get a lot of cool stuff. And frankly, I like magazines. Here we go. Serious Sci-Fi from the British Front. The Quatermass Experience article by Randy Palmer. I like the Quatermass films, but I don't love them. I wasn't as into them as some people are, but I thought they were pretty solid. But yeah, like they do pretty in-depth stuff. Obviously not as in-depth as if you're getting like a full book or something, on these things, but pretty in-depth on a particular movie or a series of movies. Heinz Horrors, Forging the Fright Fantastic. The success of Hammer films can in part be attributed to hindsight, as the author of screenplays for such sexually gothic thrillers as Curse of the Werewolf, Frankenstein Created Woman, and Taste the Blood of Dracula. Anthony Hines enjoyed a long association with the company. In fact, he's the son of one of Hammer's co-founders, William Hines, so his involvement with the famous British Fright Factory seemed a natural career move after his stint in the army during World War II. Blonde Bait. Probably a very serious, dramatic look at life. I'm sure not exploitive at all. Great images in these things, too. I mean, they're not like super high res or anything, but again, remember in 93, you're not necessarily finding this stuff anywhere else. So this was kind of it. Ramey says, I remember for kids in Mississippi, it was a big deal every year. Channel 9, Tupelo would show Creature in 3D, all the local Yeah, we had a channel here in Vegas. It was Channel 21. It's still around. I don't know what it's affiliated with now. But so we had for a long time, Channel 5 was the unaffiliated channel in Vegas. So it's where you went and got all your great reruns of crap and, like Laurel and Hardy on Sundays and Godzilla movies and things like that was Channel 5. And then they became the Fox affiliate. So that kind of changed. I mean, initially Fox was just like primetime. So it was still a local channel the rest of the time. And they also showed Star Trek The Next Generation. I remember they showed that all the way through. They kept a hold of that syndication deal. But, pardon me. But they, So they became like affiliated, and gradually as Fox took over net, programming, it was not as cool. But then we had Channel 21. And when Channel 21 came out initially, it was a local video music channel. So it was basically MTV, but it was local. Kind of crazy. I don't know if it was like, that was somehow affiliated, but I don't think it was, because they did a big deal. I think it was probably for Halloween, but I don't know for sure, where they were going to show Robot Monster. Remember the gorilla with the like diving helmet on? Robot Monster in 3D. And I want to say you had to go to Wendy's to get the 3D glasses. I think it was Wendy's. And gradually it shifted from videos into just being like the new channel that showed all the weird, cheap crap, which made it like my favorite channel on TV, because I like the weird, cheap crap even back then better than what the networks were producing. But yeah, the 3D movies where you'd have to go to like a grocery store or a restaurant and pick up the 3D glasses, that was rad. I loved that. They showed Amityville 3D on House of Svengoolie last week, but they didn't do it in 3D, unfortunately, which was fine since I don't have any glasses. Although I need a pair of 3D glasses, because I still have, anybody else remember this? God, I don't remember what friggin' company it was, but they were producing 3D comic books in the late 80s. And I think there were reprints of some of the old 3D stuff. And I have the Sheena one. And I swear I had the Three Stooges one, and I don't have it anymore. And so I'm kind of going, I don't think I would have gotten rid of that. So maybe I never bought that one. But I have the Sheena 3D comic book. And I'm going, I don't have any glasses. I need to get some glasses for that. Start had a 3D. There was a bunch. And you know who actually created the 3D comic book? This is so crazy. I mentioned it in one of my videos. It was Mo Howard's son-in-law, Norman Maurer, because he did comic book illustration. And so he was part of one of the first 3D comic books. Was it? I think it was Mighty Mouse. And then he did 3D Three Stooges. And that's some of the stuff they were reprinting. I can't remember who was reprinting those. But I remember the Sheena one, and to be completely honest, this is the reason I own it. It had a Dave Stevens cover. Yeah, and it was like, holy mackerel. It's Dave Stevens. If you know Dave Stevens, you know what I'm talking about. The Big B Movie video catalog. Oh, God, it's so awesome. Swamp Women, Beverly Garland. And I think that's the one that, what's his name? Shit, Mannix. Played Mannix. I can't think of his name now. I think that's the one he was in. Oh, Now Comics. There you go. Thank you, man. But yeah, owning a theater showing the old movies, I know. I thought it would be fun to, like, if you had like a comic book shop or something, like just a shop with all the kind of cool crap that I like in it, to do like to do movies. I don't know, like on Saturdays or something like that. If you could fit enough people in there. I'm not even talking about charging people, but I mean, you might have to if a lot of people wanted to do it, but it'd be fun. Just, get a projector and actually show movies on a screen. It'd be fun, man. Some popcorn. Yeah. We had a place that showed some older stuff, and I think it just went out of business. And the one theater that used to show a lot of the reissues is gone now too. Oh, Alligator People. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep. Killer Shrews with Roscoe P. Coltrane, Frankenstein's Daughter, The Amazing. Oh, God, all these movies. These were so hard to get once upon a time. And this is like from Filmfax, and I want to say it. I think it collects stuff from like other sellers, so that you could, it kind of puts them all in one place. Undersea Kingdom, very cool. Battle Beyond the Sun for Spaceship on Venus. Buy any 5 videos on these 2 pages and get another $19.95 video for free. Buy 10, get 2 free, etc. No limit. Oh, there's some Gamera. Nice. This is how you did it, man. If you wanted this stuff and you didn't have a place to rent them, and now I'd say probably 90% of these you could probably find right now on YouTube. Not necessarily legally, but they would probably be there. Mississippi State has a movie history class. They show a lot of the old movies to talk about. Yeah, I did a UNLV. I did 2 film classes just because I needed, like, what do they call them? The electives. And I thought, well, what the hell, man? Like, watch a friggin' movie. That'd be cool. And so the first one was sort of retrospective of film. But it was like you went in on one day. I think it was like a Tuesday, Thursday class. You went in on Tuesday to watch the movie on a big screen. It may not have been like a full screen, like in a movie theater, but pretty big. And then on Thursday, you'd go in and you get a lecture. My professor was German, Dr. Wegner, great accent. And it just felt like perfect for, old movies. They always had the directors with the German accents. That's what it felt like. And he was a really cool guy. And so the first one was like a retrospective, a lot of great movies. And then the second one I did was specifically Hitchcock films. And that was great. Oh, getting to see all the Hitchcock movies on a big screen. Because you didn't have too many revivals at that point. They're doing a lot more of that now. But back then, not as often. So it was like the only way you get to see that kind of stuff. That was really cool. Now on video, the H-Bomb and other smash hits. Interesting. And here we come to the end of this magazine. There's our back cover. Amazing, exciting, spectacular in 3 dimension. It came from outer space. Richard Carlson, Barbara Rush, Charles Drake, Russell Johnson, The Professor, Kathleen Hughes, Joe Sawyer. There you go, man. There's a film fact. I might do a few more of these here and there. It's kind of fun just to flip through and chat about stuff. Hey, I'm going to finish up with a couple movie reviews, stuff that I happened to see this week that I actually dug. Speaking of old movies, Gold Diggers of 1933. So it popped up on YouTube, and I'd never seen it before, but I thought, what the hell, and I knew Ginger Rogers was in it, and I really like her. I got to tell you something. It's funny. It's a funny movie. Directed by Mervyn LeRoy. It is pre-code. That's where some of the funniness comes from. Busby Berkeley does the musical numbers. The songs are fine. They're not great. Songs from 33. A lot of people think of 1940s music. 30s was a little rougher. I didn't love them, but you get Joan Blondell, who I love, Ginger Rogers, who I love, Warren Williams, very cool, Ruby Keeler, Dick Powell, who was a musical guy before he started doing like film noirs, Guy Kibbe, and Aline McMahon, who was really funny in this thing. And I don't know if I ever heard of her before. It's based on an old play, but it's like, Ramey Butler loves it. Okay, cool. So you know what I'm talking about. Basically, it's like Dick Powell plays this songwriter who's actually like from a rich family, and they don't want him involved in this stuff, and they certainly don't want him marrying some actress. And he's going to do it anyways. And so his brother's like, well, I'll break this up. That's Warren Williams. And Guy Kibbe plays like the family lawyer. So they go to meet with his intended to basically pay her off. But they mistake one of her friends for her. And that's played by Joan Blondell. And so this girl's friends decide, let's screw with these guys. Let's teach them a lesson because they're treating us like trash. And so they're trying to like seduce them, just get money out of them, etc. And musical number about the forgotten man. Yep, that's the one. It's funny, man. Like there's some funny lines in this one. You might want to check it out. And pretty early in the career, obviously, of a lot of these people, but Gold Diggers in 1933. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't necessarily expect much, and I was really happy with it. And I was like watching / listening while I was working. So this is one I might actually sit down and just watch. So I actually see more of it than just hear it. But even just hearing it, it was pretty damn good. I also just finished up The Face Behind the Mask, Peter Lorre flick from 1941. It is adapted from a radio play. It's sort of, I don't think it's a sequel, it's a remake. They had made a silent version of the play, because it's from a play. They made a silent version, I want to say in like 23, and then they made a talkie in like 28. And so I don't think it's technically a sequel. I think it's just remakes of it, but I have a feeling this is the best one. It made, because I was looking, it made $2.2 million in the domestic box office. We're talking about Gold Diggers again. And this is during the Depression. That would be about $55 million today on a $10 million budget. But if you adjusted for population difference, it probably made like the equivalent of about 150 mil. So pretty damn good for a musical. At any rate, The Face Behind the Mask, Peter Lorre is this immigrant from maybe like Austria, comes to the United States, trying to make his way, hard worker. He's trying to make enough money to bring his fiance over from Austria, and he gets caught in this building fire, and it destroys his face. And so his face is just all like scar tissue and everything, and he loses everything that he had in the fire, and he can't get work because nobody will hire him because he's frankly frightening looking. Because stuff was like that back then. I think we're better about that nowadays, but they weren't back in the old days. And so he ultimately ends up turning to crime. What amazed me about it is you get a couple glimpses of his face with the makeup showing like the burns. They don't really show you much. Mostly you see him from behind. And then he goes to a guy to try to get corrective surgery. And the dude's like, because of the damage, I could do like a square inch at a time, but it'd take about 6 months to heal. So doing your entire face would take about 15 years. So in other words, it ain't happening. It's not going to happen. So he makes a mask for him so he'll look normal, right? And so a good chunk of the movie is Peter Lorre supposedly wearing a mask that looks like Peter Lorre. Obviously, it's not really a mask, but the makeup job that they do is really friggin' good. It does look kind of like a mask on his face. It doesn't look quite normal. I don't know who came up with the makeup for it. They did a fantastic job. The movie is decent. It wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen. Almost like to see Peter Lorre kind of going mad in movies, and he doesn't really do that in this one. But it's a decent flick, not great, but the makeup they did on Peter Lorre to make him look like he's wearing a mask was really actually pretty cool. The third one I have, I'm sorry, okay, so I grabbed a picture of it. There you go. So look at the makeup they did like on the eyebrows. Yeah, it's creepy, but it's really effective stuff. Forgot I threw that shot in there. So the last movie that I managed to catch was The Fatman. And it's not just a clever title. This is from 1951. It's a William Castle flick based on a radio show about a detective named Brad Runyon, who is supposedly created by Dashiell Hammett, and he probably had some hand in it, but I don't know how much. On the radio and in the movie, played by a guy named J. Scott Smart. Really like the dude. I loved his portrayal of this character, and I thought the character was really friggin' cool. The film also has a young Rock Hudson in it. a young Julie London. It is a solid little detective flick. Now, the character appears to be really kind of a copy of a much more famous fat detective who is Nero Wolfe, which got a pretty good adaptation starring Timothy Hutton and Maury Chaykin. I found these on YouTube, which they clearly weren't supposed to be that. Dude, the fat man before he met Jake, you're kind of onto it in a way because it's all in that genre of fat detective, right? Which is kind of a crazy genre to exist, but it really does. But there was also a Nero Wolfe pilot in the 50s that co-starred William Shatner. You can find that on YouTube. Kind of interesting. Seeing it's a young Shatner. We're probably talking at this point. I say it's 59, so we're about 7 years before Star Trek, and yet it is William Shatner. You know, Captain Kirk is William Shatner in so many ways. And then in 1981, William Conrad played Nero Wolfe on TV. And of course, William Conrad, Jake and the Fat Man. Love that show, by the way. Also, my favorite fat detective, Cannon. Freaking love this show to pieces. And I wondered if all these characters are ultimately derived, a little bit at least, from Mycroft Holmes, Sherlock's smarter brother. And when I wrote on my little note card, Sherlock's smarter brother, it made me think, of course, of the movie Sherlock's Smarter Brother, Gene Wilder and Marty Feldman, which if you have never seen this movie, go see this movie. I want to say Madeline Kahn's in it as well. It's probably the closest, in terms of the actors, it's like the closest you'll get to a sequel of Young Frankenstein. And there is a scene in it where they're in a death trap that they wind up escaping into a ballroom. There's a large party. I won't tell you what happens, but I can still remember my mother seeing it on TV and almost being in tears crying. It was so funny to her. If you've never seen Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother, go give it a try. It's a good flick. It's funny. So there we have it, folks. 3 flicks that I enjoyed this week. Gold Diggers of 1933, The Face Behind the Mask, and The Fat Man. All worth a watch. Okay, man, I think that'll do it for this beautiful Sunday. Coming up this week, Monday, I have a review of Justice League America number 40 and Justice League Europe number 16. On Wednesday, I'm reviewing The Wolf Man with Lon Chaney Jr., part of my series of werewolf movie reviews for this October. And on Friday, Captain America Year 1. I'm doing a retrospective of the first year of Captain America comics. Simon and Kirby, classic stuff. Fun thing to read. It was fun to make the little video of the dance scene. Yeah, Raimi knows what I'm talking about. And if it was a fun comic, super action-packed. If you're a Kirby fan, you might want to check it out. So that's on Friday. So that'll do it, guys. Thanks, Man of War. Thanks, Raimi. Thank you, Lone Dragon. And, of course, Lady Wendelin, for being in the chat this week. Hey, if you're listening in and you're not in the chat, feel free to jump in. I'd love to hear from people. It's fun to have conversations. That's kind of what I'm doing all this stuff for. And but until next time, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. And I will hopefully see you again soon in Dad's Den of pop culture. And now I got a bunch of videos that I need to shoot for a couple weeks from now. So bye, everybody. Raimi says, everybody got to go get in trouble. Yes, I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm just going to work my butt off today, but it'll keep me out of trouble. Adios, amigos, Man of War. Okay, guys, that'll do it for today. Bye-bye.